What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about GTA 6 and a what-if scenario for you. So I've talked about this specific topic once before, but I want to bring it up with, what could GTA 6 do to kind of, continue moving it forward or continue to make it worse? And what we're talking about really is the early access stuff, okay? So if you never watched the first video, honestly, I don't even remember when I made that first video, but there's a growing problem in the industry of paying for early access. Now, I'm very respectful of people's money. You do what you want with yours. I'll do what I want with mine. And, if you want to support it, if you don't want to support it, none of my right to tell you what to do with it, okay? But, and I will say, I've been hypocritical myself. I hate it. I hate the early access thing. I think it's continued to get worse, and I think it's going to continue to get worse even beyond this, and it leads to GTA 6, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I've got to admit, I even have supported it in the past. Hogwarts Legacy was such a small little thing. Pay $10, play it 3 days early, they said. I did it, and I don't really regret it, to be honest with you. Life is Strange went even a step further just recently. Pay $30 extra, and in all reality, the $30 extra was to play it 2 weeks early. The first 2 episodes. Pay $30 more, almost the price of the full game, and you can play less than half of it 2 weeks before everybody else. Now, again, I'm hypocritical perhaps. I've done some of these things here and there. Other times, Space Marine 2 did it. It also had the DLC attached to it, and that's a sneaky little thing games will do, right? They'll add cosmetics. They'll add a season pass. They'll add DLC. And it's like, well, you're not spending $40 just to play it early, but they sneak everything else, or maybe they sneak early access, depending on which way you look at it. Bottom line, I really think we have a potential problem on our hands. I think it was a problem maybe a year or two ago, and I think it's honestly only gotten worse. Companies are asking people to spend more money on the game, and they're giving it out more and more in advance, right? I honestly think eventually, and maybe this is where GTA comes in, I think you could be seeing games say, hey, $20-$30, you play it 2 weeks early. In which case, number one, the game's release date isn't even what they say it is, right? Because really, it's out a couple weeks before. Number two, you run into a potential problem of bugs and glitches, and you could have a Star Wars Outlaws problem. You had to pay $110, I think, to play Star Wars Outlaws 3 days early, and people on PlayStation were having their save files reset, so you had to restart a day in. So it's like, at what point are you bug fixing it for them, right? Even though you're paying them $20-$30 extra to play it early, and then you're not even really playing it early. Okay. Now, what does GTA have to do with this? Well, let me first say, I'm not saying this is a guarantee. I'm not making them out to be the boogeyman, but I do find it fascinating because I think GTA 6 is going to change a lot of things. I really do. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think that's anything new. You've probably heard that before, right? In fact, a couple months back, I made a video and we talked about, well, what if GTA is that game? It's long been speculated. What if it's a game that tries to raise prices? The standard edition nowadays is about $70. There's still games to do $60, but now it's $7 US. Across the world, it actually is more than that, but let's just say in the US, right? It was $60, now it's $70. Some games do $60, some even do $50 sometimes, right? But what if GTA comes out and is the first game to be $80 as a standard edition? Well, is it a copycat thing? Do other publishers say, hey, well, they did it, we can pull it off too? And the answer is no, you can't. Or actually, the response is, because it's not really a question, but the response is no, you cannot. People, I do not think, will accept games being higher. They might need to be higher to justify these insane budgets, but I really think we're at a breaking point, a boiling point, where people are just not going to do it. People already have said no, I think, to the $70 thing. You try $80 or $90 as a standard price, I think you're just going to have a revolt. I really don't think average people are going to do it en masse, right? Okay, well, that brings me to this. What if GTA tries the early access? See, the thing is, if you were to change the price of standard games, that's a pretty big deal, right? You come in, you swoop in, and you say, we're going to be the first $80 standard edition game. What are you going to do about it? Well, that's bold. Actually, in some ways, I give them a lot of respect for even just having that kind of swagger where they're able to do it. I think it would work, by the way, for GTA. I don't think it would work for any other game. And honestly, I don't want GTA 6 to be above, the market price for other games. But okay, that's one thing, right? Well, the thing is, if you do this early access thing, there's already lucrative early. I just gave you a couple, Space Marine 2, I got kind of mad at it and I got some pushback to it because it does include the season pass. If a game includes the season pass, I guess it's a more digestible pill. But Space Marine 2 specifically was $40 extra, and you could play it, I believe, 3 or 4 days early. Because I remember in my head, I was like, oh, $10 a day. You're paying to play Space Marine 2 $10. And by the way, I own that game, bought the standard edition. I actually really like it. So it's not a slight against the actual product. But okay, well, they added the season pass. So you're not necessarily spending 40, but again, as a benefit, you're playing it 4 days early. Life is Strange. Now, those are the two biggest. I think, honestly, the average is going up, though. I think, like I said, Hogwarts Legacy was not the first to do it, but was one of the first games of big notoriety to do $10 3 days. 3 days early, $10. Nowadays, I mean, again, you throw it in with Ultimate Edition. Dragon Ball, I think, was an example of that, right? I think you had to spend $100 or $110, so $30-$40 above the base price, and there's a lot that comes with it. There's all those DLCs, which actually I got the deluxe edition, which I think was $100. There's a lot that comes with it, but I think it was the Ultimate for $110. That was the early access. And then everything else. So, I mean, for GTA, I wonder what path they take, right? Because, they might have big expansions. They might. But also, you could sell them as their own things. I mean, we've seen that before, like GTA 4. Online has been basically broken off too, right? So it's like there might just be a base GTA 6 and that's it. You're not getting these huge single player. In fact, I believe the rumor / confirmation is they canceled a single player DLC expansion to GTA 5. So it's like they might not even do it for 6. So if you do it for an Ultimate Edition, right? GTA Ultimate Edition, $120, and the standard edition is $70. Well, in that $50, are you going to give anything beyond early access? And again, this is all, I don't know. I'm having a fun discussion. It's the weekend. We're hanging out. None of this could happen, right? I mean, that's definitely possible. But in the same breath that people talk about GTA changing the landscape of gaming with raising the standard price, I think they can continue to normalize the early access thing. They're not even reinventing the wheel. Again, they're not coming out there and doing something drastic. That would be drastic, making it $80 as the standard. Telling people, hey, you want to play GTA 6 1 week early? Pay us $30. We're not going to give you anything else with the game. It's simply you can play it early. I guarantee you that it would still be, with the early access, the biggest launch in all of media. GTA 5, I believe, was the biggest launch at the time in all of not just gaming, but movies, television, anything. I really think, number one, GTA 6 is going to do that again. But number two, I think you could do it even with early access sales, right? The $30 extra, that could be the highest thing you've ever seen in your life and the gaming industry's ever seen. And I mean, again, I'm not saying, oh, this is going to, or we should attack that. It's just well, this is just a what if scenario, right? It's not, if it does happen, then there's something to talk about for sure. But it's just something that kind of came to my mind. I wonder. And honestly, if you want an actual prediction, Alex prediction, I do think they're going to do something. I really do. It's not even Rockstar. It's not the ground level employees that have been working very hard on this game. I just feel it's so big. Like I just said, it's going to be the biggest thing. It might not be the best game of all time, right? I actually get people that tell me all the time on Twitter or whatever. It's like, hey, I'm glad you're excited, but, GTA isn't even that important to me. Total respect. I'm not making this channel a GTA channel or anything. I get that. I get it's not for everybody, but I think we can all agree it's going to be the biggest media release ever. It might not be the best in terms of quality, but it's going to be the biggest. And I just think taking a step back from that, right? It's you have a chance to really you have everybody by the throat. You know what I mean? I don't know why this is by the throat. You have everybody by the throat. And it's well, what do you do with that? You probably push it a little bit. You know what I mean? I just feel well, look at where we're at. You know what I mean? Look at where we're at with corporate greed and all this stuff. And honestly, again, the best examples is game prices going up, the way they sneak in that early access with the season passes and these deluxe editions that are so much money. Honestly, I think collector's editions have gotten worse as time has gone on. I feel just the things that they give you are not as up to snuff. I feel they're more expensive than ever before. I feel all of that stuff is true, And I think with GTA 6, it's hard to believe it's just going to be the standard game, $70. Launch day is launch day. There's no strings. Now, if that happens, that's great. Fantastic. But I feel like there's going to be some strings attached, right? Pay $20, play it a week early. Pay $40, play it 2 weeks, whatever it might be. Because it's just, honestly, it's easy money. And as I said in the beginning, I've fallen for it. I saw articles talking about this early access where it's like, nobody's talking about this. We need to talk about it. Look back. I've talked about this for a while. Go on my channel, right? So it's like, I've been like aware of what's going on and I've called it out in videos. At the same time, I'm a weak man. Okay. I've fallen for these traps, and who's to say I won't do it for GTA? I don't know if I would, or it depends on the price, honestly. I think, I can be bought, but I can't be bought for like so little. It's got to be something worth it. So I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know even what I would do if they do something for it. But I just flat out, honestly, all jokes aside, I do think they're going to do something, whether it's raising the standard edition price, which I don't want, and I kind of pushed back against the idea originally. I think there's always been rumors that it's going to be like $100. There's no way. 80 maybe, right? It goes from 70 to 80. There's no way they're pushing it higher as a standard edition beyond that. You can't. You literally can't. Just like you also can't say, okay, you pay $80 more and you can play it 2 weeks early. There's a limit. But can they push it just beyond what we've seen already? Like, again, Life is Strange is maybe the worst one. And I like Life is Strange. I did it for double exposure. But it's like, okay, 2 weeks, $30. That's the new, like, worst one, okay? Can you beat that? Can you give me it for 2 weeks early, but I have to pay you $50? Can you do 3 weeks? So it's also length, right? How early can you play the game? And how much money extra is it? And we've already kind of reached our max. It seems like $40 is kind of the max that people are willing to, and you have to have other things in it. Can't just be early access. $40 and then 2 weeks. That's kind of the max that we've. Now I think GTA could push that up, right? That's something that could be negotiated, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.